Who are the first StarCraft 2 millionaires? Which players were the dark horses of Intel Extreme Masters Katowice? And is coffee brown or black? All of these questions will be answered in today's episode of StarCraft Today.
StarCraft Today.
Your favorite StarCraft news show. In the past week, two players managed to reach the $1 million in prize money. Serral and Rogue, after their Katowice performance, now can call themselves the first real StarCraft 2 millionaires, as over their career they has made a crap ton of money. But what is more interesting than money is of course the games, and we had loads of fantastic games in the last Intel Extreme Masters Katowice 2022. Starting on the Wednesday with the round of 36 play-in. Out of this bracket, 4 players would make it out into the group stages, and it didn't quite end up being what a lot of people expected. Sure, Beyond managed to make it out with a very dominating performance in that upper bracket, but Spirit making it out from the bottom bracket, taking out DRG, taking out Australia, Hero and Elaser, both not even surviving one round in that upper bracket. Nice, with a massive upset against Hero into Skillless, and getting very close to taking out Spirit as well in some of the weirdest games that I have ever seen in my entire life, consisting of lots of zealots being sacrificed for ire. In the lower rounds, we saw Hero getting taken out by Ryung as well, who had a banger of a performance this entire IEM, starting on that Wednesday. Ryung later on managed to qualify after taking out a nice 3-0 as well in that lower bracket. And then Australia finishing off this group of 4 by taking out Uthermal 3-1, destroying Skillless as well, and earlier already beating Creator in that upper bracket. Fantastic run for the American, and that left us with 4 very unlikely suspects, adding into the already extremely stacked round of 24 groups. And from that round of 36, we saw Spirit advance into Group A. And Group A already was a banger of a group. Dream, Rogue, Solar, Cure, as well as Neep, all in this group. Spirit started out strong, taking out Solar, but that was the only thing that Solar would drop here. Sure, he lost a couple of extra maps, but he did not lose any other series. And although Solar lost to probably the weakest player in the group in his first match, he still managed to get out in first place and straight up advance into that round of 8 with some absolutely fantastic and wonderful play in the group stage. Cure, however, the disappointment for a lot of people this tournament, the most recent GSL champion, could not make it work at the biggest stage and dropped out in 4th place, losing to Dream, losing his spot because of that to Dream as well. Rogue, as always, I'm not quite sure how he does it. Didn't play fantastic. Link flooded Neep twice in his series. Still managed to win that though with those 2 Link floods. And gets out in 2nd place. Maybe not what Rogue expected or not what he had wanted in this group. He probably wanted that straight round of 8 finish. Nonetheless though, he did make it to the playoffs. Group B saw Ryung being added in from that round of 36 bracket, and this group already was extremely strong and now felt even a little bit harder. Serral starting against Dark, getting a swift 2-0 on the board after defending in the first game a 12 pool with a drone pool in one of the most dominating ways that I've seen that build being defended, honestly. And the rest of the group for Serral felt extremely good. He looked strong, he looked powerful, he was quick, not dropping a single map in the entire group stage, going 10-0. Is something we have seen before with Dark, but it is a very rare occurrence when it's such a high level playing field. Showtime not making out of this group, perhaps a bit of an upset. Ryung coming from the open bracket and showing time, special Showtime, how it's done, advancing in 3rd place in perhaps the biggest upset or the biggest dark horse run in this entire tournament. I don't think a lot of people would have expected Ryung to even make it out of the round of 36. And then afterwards being placed in the group, I don't think a lot of people expected him to actually get anywhere or even win perhaps more than 2 or 3 maps. However, he managed to make it out and advanced to the playoffs. Group C, the group of chaos. Australia being added on from the round of 36 made it only a little bit more chaotic. A lot of people's eyes were on Zest and Trap here, but Zest disappointing a little bit. After getting 2nd place in the last 2 Intel Extreme Masters Katowice, this time he did not manage to make it out of the group after losing to Hero Marine and Lambo. People did not expect Zest to lose to these players, and I don't think Zest expected that either. Hero Marine with a very strong showing in general, almost managing to take out Trap as well, ending the group in 2nd place only because he ended up losing to Bunny in the final match to 2-1. That's another bit of a surprise in this group, is that Bunny gets out in first place, straight up qualifying into the round of 8. Trap only barely making it through in third. And that completes our top 3 of this group. Lambo with an upsetting performance after being very hyped for this tournament, after being in good shape lately, did not manage to make it happen on the big stage in Katowice. Group D for death. Rainer, Maru, Clem, Scarlet and Zaun were already in this group. The round of 36 player that got added was Beyond to make this the absolute group of death. A lot of people's eyes were on Maru, Clem, Rainer and Beyond as he got at it, but it actually was Zaun that managed to make it out in third place after a very good show and getting extremely close to taking out Rainer in his opening match as well. People have not talked enough about this. Zaun, so close actually to taking out the Italian. In my opinion, he looked the absolute closest. Well, that's not completely true. Let's not forget about Rainer versus Maru, a game on Berlingrad that should have been over for 10-15 minutes already, and Maru just kept staying in with his mech composition, controlling his army so well, really pushing Rainer to the edge there, almost managing to make a comeback in a game that was 100% lost. But Rainer does end up winning that group with a 5-0 score. So Rainer in first place, Maru ending up second, and Zaun in third, as we now have our playoff brackets. The round of 12 was a sad affair for Protoss fans, as both Trap and Zaun get taken out very swiftly and in kind of one-sided series as well. Dark taking out Trap 3-0, Hero Marine taking out Zaun 3-1. Moving on towards the lower part of the round of 12, we saw Maru 3-1 Dream in a series that was a lot closer than people had expected. Dream actually showing Maru in the late game how it's done on 2K Atmospheres, a game in which Dream actually was kind of dominating, finding these holes in Maru's play, and at certain points being capable of pressing into Maru's natural. Maru did manage to make the comeback. He is Maru after all, but Dream really someone to look out for this year, as he's shown that he's capable of beating basically everyone in this tournament. Rogue Ryung as our final match. Rogue just honestly looking a lot stronger there, and I think the most one-sided series in that round of 12. Ryung came very far, but was not up to the task of beating Rogue. On that same day, Rainer vs Dark as the first quarterfinals, a quarterfinals that will go down as history as one of the most chaotic series I've seen in my entire life. Dark getting up 2-1 score over Rainer, Rainer bringing it back with some fantastic plays, solid control, great build order choices. Rainer looked absolutely fabulous in general this tournament and really showed Dark what he is made of, with a bit of revenge from that 2019 BlizzCon finals, obviously, in which Dark managed to take out Rainer 4-2. Our second best of 5, Solar versus Hero Marine, and another best of 5 that made absolutely no sense. The Hardwire game, probably one of the sickest ZVTs I've seen in my life, if it wasn't for all the other 6 ZVTs that we had in this tournament. Hero Marine making a comeback from a practically impossible position, then afterwards Solar making a comeback on Berlingrad from a practically impossible comeback position. This series really had it all. It wasn't perfect play-wise, but it was so damn entertaining. And this entire quarterfinals, honestly, was sick. In the third quarterfinal, we saw a match that people looked forward to for years in an offline environment. Serral versus Maru in a best of 5, where everything was on the line. But honestly, Maru tried his best. He took a map as well, but Serral just kind of bopped him. And in that game number 1, kind of made Maru look like a player that is 500-600 MMR worse. I did not expect that from this series whatsoever. Of course, Serral up until that point hadn't lost a single map, so you could say that it's kind of impressive that Maru managed to do that, but in Maru's shape that he was in currently during Intel Extreme Masters Katowice, I kind of expected more from him. And in the final best of 5, which started a quarter past midnight, Bunny versus Rogue. Rogue once again showing how good he is when it really matters. In this ZVD, taking out Bunny in relatively one-sided fashion. Bunny having some moments of brilliance, still taking a map, but it wasn't good enough, as we now had set our semifinals. And this is where things truly started going wild. With Hero Marine already having the run of his lifetime, making it into the semifinals, he managed to get the first 2 maps against Rainer with some very aggressive plays, some cool build orders. Then in the third map with a double eBay before barracks 2 and 3, getting a big lead into another all-in on Hardwire. It felt like Reiner was down and out, but with a brilliant fight in the middle of the map, with a beautiful flank, Reiner did manage to bring it back. And from there on out, the momentum was on his side. And he played some of the greatest ZVT that I've seen. It just was fantastic to watch. A true treat to watch. Hero Marine wasn't up to the task as Reiner advanced to the finals as the first player. In the second semifinal, Serral versus Rogue, bit more of a one-sided affair. Serral said, all right, Maru might have taken one map. I'm not going to give Rogue a single one. 3-0 absolute bop in that series. And that means that the finals of Intel Extreme Masters Katowice 2022 had to be between Reiner and Serral. An all-European affair here. Serral looking extremely strong in the first two games, dominating even, and it looked like this final was going to be a bop. But then Reiner turned it on, as we've seen him done before in this tournament, against Dark, against Hero Marine, coming back while being behind and starting to just playing extremely well. In the next 3 games, he managed to win them. Serral not giving up, and ending up with a 4-3 victory on the final up, taking a very long time to secure his win, which felt inevitable for the last 10 minutes of that game. In the end, Serral does manage to take it. And once again, for the first time since 2018, Serral is our StarCraft 2 World Champion and is also the player with the most prize money earned. This week's game of the week is Clem versus Scarlet on Hardwire, and this match had a lot of context. Clem hadn't won a single map up until this point, down 0-5 in maps, 0-2 in series, as he's down 1-0 against Scarlet as well. If he loses this map, he's completely down and out of this group, and this is the time where Clem decides to turn it on. Being down in supply, Scarlet basically having this game in her pocket, Clem decides to start playing StarCraft like an absolute beast, like we're known from him in online competitions. It turns into an epic slugfest of 40 minutes. And with the context of everything that's happening, with the fact that this keeps Clem's fighting chances alive, I think this is the game of the week and the game of the tournament. This week's clip of the week comes from an interview with Reiner after he managed to take out Clem in the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice.
I'm not gonna lie, the last 7 times you played Clem at a DreamHack StarCraft 2 Masters, he ran away with the victory. That is a lot to, back to back. So how good does it feel to finally get revenge on this stage at the World Championship when it matters most?
No one beats Reiner 8 times in a row.
That is going to be it for today's episode of StarCraft Today, but not before we answer this all-important question. Is coffee black or brown? Now, brewed coffee may range from brown to almost black, depending on the roast level and how the coffee was brewed. If you were to take a drop of any brewed coffee and hold it up to a light, you'd probably find that it was actually brown. In a coffee pot or a mug, though, the coffee may look black. We can keep debating whether it's technically brown or truly black without arriving at an answer. According to this website, of course, people with a brain know that coffee is brown. That's going to be it for me today. Thanks all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time for a new video. Bye bye.